So when our kids come to us in preschool and they work all the way through 12th grade, we will be talking to them around what does it mean to be preparing for their future? What future are they building? And their social media platform is one of the ways that they're building their future and creating their brand. So when you create your brand and tell who you are, you need to know where you're going. So that is a part of knowing our students by name, serving them by strength and need.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
I'm Andi Fourlis, so proud to be the superintendent of Mesa Public Schools here in Mesa, Arizona. We serve 57,000 students in 81 buildings from preschool all the way through high school.
Superintendent, it's so great to have you on today. It was great to meet you in person at the AASA conference. For all of our district leaders that know about that, it's where district leaders go to learn how to build the best district possible, how to build the best staff possible that nurtures students, that engages with parents. It's a great place. It was in San Diego, California. The weather was phenomenal. Superintendent, it was really great to see you there. And today I'm excited to have you on the podcast for the following reason. I'm excited to talk about best practices that you have in your community on how to keep students safe on social media so they can someday shine online for their dream college, career, internship, so that we can all build the best students possible so that when they're 25, they're employable and awesome and sociable and everything else. And that's our dream here. And it aligns with so many districts. So I'm grateful for you today. What is your biggest accomplishment over the last 1 to 4 years in the school district that you'd love to inspire other district leaders with?
You know, in Mesa Public Schools, we have a promise, and that promise is to know our students by name, serve them by strength and need so that they graduate ready for college, career, and community. So we have had to redesign our systems so that we can deliver upon that promise. And we have a very strong focus on improving the working conditions of our staff so we can improve the outcomes of our students. So some examples that align to the work that we have done. We've been very intentional around attractive compensation for all of our staff members. We've got a ways to go, but we are making progress that we're super proud of. The other is we're redesigning how teachers work, moving them away from isolation into collaboration by looking at team approaches as we serve our students to deliver deeper and more personalized learning.
It's not easy because here we are nurturing students. They have an amazing staff that help us do that. So I applaud you at that. The next question that I have for you is, what advice do you have for other school districts to deal with social media issues that may originate on a social media app like TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, but then create a very real problem on one of your campuses?
Well, the first thing that I should probably share with you is we are the first district in the state of Arizona that joined the lawsuit suing social media. And we did that because we know that the business practices that many of the social media outlets and apps are using are not conducive to what we want kids to be engaged in and what we want them to be learning. So I think it's important for us to have a voice and some advocacy. So that's kind of this ginormous picture. But what can I control here in Mesa Public Schools? And our leadership team works very closely with our schools to make sure that our principals are educating families about if the problems of social media end up in your school, talk about all the things that can happen. Because oftentimes students and their families do not understand that there is a connection back to the school and that the school will intervene. And so we need to make that crystal clear to families so that they understand. So, for example, cases of cyberbullying or even school threats, a threat for sure always results in a call to law enforcement. And then you keep following that train. And oftentimes, our sergeants, our detectives are then contacting families to do search warrants to get into students' phones. A simple threat, a simple bullying activity may not seem like much, but when you think about its magnitude, we respond and we take every threat of bullying experience as well as a threat to a school very, very, very seriously. And that includes law enforcement.
Yeah, we were just on the phone with a superintendent of a similar district size, and a good kid made a joke on April 1st, April Fool's Day, that had some very real implications with the district, right? And I think that kind of fits inside of what you're saying is the district and the schools want to protect what they're doing, and even good kids can make mistakes, and that's why we're here.
Absolutely.
So my next question for you kind of moves into the more positive side, superintendent, of things, because yes, we're here about safety and such, but there's so much to talk about shining online. I want to ask you, can you provide an example or two of how your students might have used their social media in a positive or maybe a productive way that could have benefited themselves, their community, or helped to launch them into their positive online footprint for their future?
This is interesting. This is a real life example today. We have a group of high school students who are in a special education program, and they're working on their transition to work, building work based learning skills so that they can be independent in their lives. And so they have joined this entrepreneur group and they have created homemade dog bones. And so they are now selling and promoting these dog bones. They came into my leadership team and wanted some advice on what can we do to accelerate our business and to be thinking about what we're doing. And one of that is building a social media platform to be able to tell their very specific and unique story. And so that is an amazing way that it takes what we're currently learning in a place called school, building job skills, and then promoting that to the community. We also have student led fundraising that happens at a school. They identify a cause and they want to crowdsource and tell people about their cause. And they want to not only raise awareness, they also want to raise some money. Social media is a great way to do that. The other is to promote success. We have a lot of kids in our extracurricular programs, sports. We are very committed to the performing arts inside of Mesa Public Schools and the visual arts, telling the story of all of the possibilities of what can happen when you are a student in Mesa Public Schools through your demonstration of creativity. That can happen in a very positive way on social media.
Something stuck with me that you said earlier in such a beautiful way. You said your mission, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but mention the most important parts, I think, is we know every student by name and by strength. That
Yes.
is so awesome. Can
Yes.
you, I'm going to derail the whole conversation because I think that is the most powerful thing I've heard in a long time. Can you talk to us? What does it mean? Because you just mentioned some ways that students are doing great things online positively and they're using their strengths to do things. Can you talk to us? What does it mean specifically to know them by name and to know them by strength?
Love to be able to talk about that. It is very important in our very large school system that we understand that every child is unique. And the first thing that is unique about them is their name, knowing who they are. And with that, they bring strengths and they also bring some needs. And so, how do we take those strengths and needs, design instruction, build the learning environments so that kids can thrive, so that they can think about what do they want to do today and into the future? We also have what we call a graduation plus model. So when our kids come to us in preschool and they work all the way through 12th grade, we will be talking to them around what does it mean to be preparing for their future? What future are they building? And their social media platform is one of the ways that they're building their future and creating their brand. So when you create your brand and tell who you are, you need to know where you're going. So that is a part of knowing our students by name, serving them by strength and need, is identifying when they get into high school, how are they going to build their diploma so that they graduate with pluses that we define as not just a high school diploma, plus industry certificates, plus earned college credit. In our state, we have things called seals of designation on their diploma, a seal of biliteracy, a seal of service learning, a seal of the arts, a STEM seal. So who are they? How do we get to know them? And so that we can help them to build that personalized learning experience so that they graduate ready for college, career, and community.
I applaud that. Really,
Thank you.
really well thought through and impressive. And I think that's what this podcast is all about. You just inspired another leader going, I like how tactical that was to help a kid where they're at. Absolutely beautiful. Now, let's dive into the next question. What suggestions do you have for parents to encourage their kids to use technology in a positive way, both in the classroom and at home?
I think we have to think about what is the purpose of social media and what is the purpose. And when a child picks up a device, whether it is their phone or a laptop, and they want to communicate with those that they don't yet know, or they want to communicate with large groups through social media, what is that purpose for the communication? Is the purpose to inform? Is it to entertain? Is it to spark creativity? Is it to complain or hurt someone else? If it's to complain and hurt someone else, that's not what it's good. That should not be an expectation. So when parents are identifying what those expectations are, I think it really it needs to be rooted in purpose. Oftentimes, social media is a way to celebrate maybe a friend that is a little shy and is trying to get to know others. There could be so many different positive ways to use it. But I think when they pick up that device, if they have had experience in their family to say, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? What is the purpose? That helps to craft the why about how that child is using social media. And we really want to make sure that it is always for good, never to harm others.
A lot of other parents are having some questions about how to know what's happening on campus, and that leads me to the next question. What are your suggestions for other school districts to increase parent engagement? And I have a little bit of a follow-up question there. Are there any specific channels, events, or ways that you're communicating with parents that get the biggest turnout?
So I think that we know that just like our kids want a personalized learning experience, our parents need personalized communication experiences as well. So if we only send information from our school district or a school through email, we're going to miss a lot of people. If we only send it through text messaging, we're going to miss a lot of people. If we only send a hard copy in the Friday folder, we're going to miss a lot of people. So, what we have to think about communicating and engaging our parents is that we have layered and cascading communication systems. So, we don't just communicate in one way, we communicate the same information in lots of ways. Let's just talk about parent teacher conferences, for example. Let's just say that there's a letter that is going out saying, mark your calendars, remember parent teacher conferences, raising a level of awareness. These are the dates, these are the times. Then the next communication comes and talks about, well, what is the purpose of parent teacher conferences and what are we going to be doing and how can you prepare for that? Different communication. And then a follow up to say, have you talked to your students about what they're most proud of that you want to be able to talk to the teacher about? So no longer can we just do one communication and it's really lengthy. We have to put those into bite sized chunks that we can engage our parents. And we also know in our district, we have about 20 different languages that are spoken. So making sure that what we are sharing is accessible and understandable and that we're constantly getting feedback. We have a Mesa Parent Council and I meet with them quarterly. And one of the things that we talk about just about every single time is communication. And they're always giving me advice around the times of day that are better or the format or how long, or sometimes it should be a video and sometimes it should just be, give me the facts. That's all I need. So it's a constant conversation.
I like that you're iterating that conversation. You're having a conversation about the conversation. It's so deep and meta, but it is very important. It's so important to and have a team that goes, okay, let's start with what's the purpose, then how are we going to communicate? And is there a different way that we do it this week versus last week?
And what does it look like at an elementary school to a junior high school to a high school? All very different. And when do you layer in the communication to our older students to help to get the message home?
And I think the other district leaders that are watching this, right? The biggest key takeaways I wrote down from you is a personalized communication experience for each kid, each family, essentially, and then also a layered and cascading communication systems. I just absolutely love that, right? Same message as they do in branding. You have to. There's an old school. I used to work at Disney Studios at a very young age in the brand marketing division, the iconic division of the iconic brand. And we always knew we had to reach people like 5 to 15 different ways, right? And that's the old school brand thing. Like they have to see your brand this many times before they buy it off the shelf. And that's the same. Wouldn't you agree? That's the same with parents as well. So they remember the event.
Oh, absolutely. I think you have to think about the lived experiences. I have a mom of three girls. My youngest is 22. My oldest is 28. I will tell you, it's been a long time since I was a parent of a child in the K-12 system. But I will tell you that the amount of information coming into me every single day is so fast and so furious. And my memory of all of the things coming into me is not as good as it used to be, or my brain is being retrained to not write things down. My brain is becoming rewired to be reminded. And so I think it's important that we continue to think about that personalization of reminding.
All right, we have one last question for you, Superintendent, and it is about the topic that everybody's talking about. It's about AI. But before I ask you that question, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to the many school districts, the dozens and dozens of school districts nationwide that are partnering with Smart Social to protect the students in their community through our parent engagement events. Thank you so much for helping us and allowing us to teach your parents through our newsletter, our 54 plus live events in both English and Espanol, in Mandarin, and in 10 other languages, helping us to deliver teaching teens, experts with through therapists, counselors, psychologists, and more, and also teaching the positive side of social media that teens want to hear. Here's the positive side. Here's what can go wrong, but here's what you might consider doing to build a portfolio for the future. Thank you to the dozens of school districts that are doing that and the millions of students that we're protecting through those districts. Okay, we're back to the final question for you, Superintendent. Everybody's talking about AI, right? Whether it's writing papers for people. It was very scary a year ago when we were reporting on this. People are like, no. And a lot of teens I would ask, they'd go, I don't use it. I don't use it. They were afraid to use it. And it just broke my heart because how much of a powerful thing it could be. It's like, I don't use spell check. Okay, well, it could teach you. So now I think we have a different conversation. I'm not hearing teens say, I don't use it. I'm hearing educators going, yeah, we're trying to use it as a tool. And so with that, I want to ask you, how is your school district approaching AI tools like Chat GPT?
So I will tell you the first question that I'm asked, and so I will just answer that off the top, is we have not blocked it from our students or from our staff. What is most important is that we are making sure that we are providing all the guidance to maintain data privacy. And this is a little tricky because you really have to be 18 to be a part of ChatGPT, to even log on and get an account and everything. You say that you're 18 years old. So that's just a few of our kids. But we know that we have a lot more of them that are on ChatGPT. And I'm making a wholesome assumption that that is in concert with their families. So we have spent a lot of our time focusing on our staff first. We need to get this figured out before we want to be able to open up to all of our students. So I'll give you some examples. I talked about earlier on, we're really focused on changing the working conditions to create joy in our staff because we know that leads to better student outcomes. So, one of the primary questions that we ask ourselves when we are using a generative AI tool is this tool going to help me eliminate repetitive tasks so that I can use my creativity, collaboration, communication, and relationship building with the others that I work with? And if the answer is yes, then that's probably a really good use of generative AI. So, for example, we have many of our staff members that do a lot of repetitive data entry. ChatGPT or generative AI can be super helpful with our teachers. They do a lot of repetitive tasks as well. They create spreadsheets, they organize groups of students, they do all of these things again and again and again. ChatGPT can help them. Lesson design, that can be a tool. But I remind all of our administrators, in my mind, what comes out of a generative AI tool is a rough draft. We then have to add our sprinkle and our personality and our culture into that document. No generative AI is ever going to be you. And we can try to mimic your voice and do all of these things. But again, that is a rough draft. So don't ever send something out with your name signed at the bottom that you have not thoroughly vetted and say, this sounds like Andi Fourlis. This is my work. And it is now something that I'm very proud of. So I think that there's some human elements that we have to maintain. But if we can remove the repetitive tasks of teachers so that they can get back to what they love doing, which is arranging instruction, building curriculum, and engaging with students and their families, then I'm all for artificial intelligence to be able to be a tool for them. We also talk a lot about the one teacher, one classroom is broken because our kids are complex and we need more than one adult wrapped around them in a day. So AI is a tool, but it is a tool that is used only when the humans on the team say, this is what we need it for, and it has a very specific purpose. We are being careful and bold all at the same time, and that's probably sounds like an oxymoron, but we're saying, yes, let's use it, but let's be very, very, very careful and a pledge to never, ever use student identifiable data in anything that we do.
So well said on so many points. We're hearing from a lot of superintendents saying, this is a tool. How are we going to use it so we can nurture more students, have more free time with students? And the conversation's changing, I feel like month by month. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. The sky's the limit. We have guidance documents that we started the school year with that we've given across our departments and schools. But we keep thinking, okay, let's sit down. It's time to revise it. Oh my gosh, I think it's like a weekly thing that we're going to have to do to keep revising. This is a work in progress. We embrace the idea, but I really want to focus on improving the work, using it to improve the working conditions of our staff.
Amazing. For the parents watching right now, as many of you know, if you're in our program, we have a free AI class that we teach about every month. It's called Become a Homework Hero. I don't know if you're like me, but it's been a long time since you've done calculus. And if your kid comes home with a calculus, a trigonometry, or a detailed question on something, you can sit side by side with your kid. In this program, we teach you how to use ChatGPT, the free version, Google Gemini, the
Yes.
free version, Claude, and then also Conmigo. They have their new AI thing that's $4 a month. It's absolutely amazing. And how you can all of a sudden, shoulder to shoulder, become best friends with your kids, helping them with their homework, or less about, I don't know how to do this. We want to turn you into that homework hero and use these tools with parental guidance safely. And you're going to find out how easy it is, how fun it is. We teach in our class how to here's all this stuff in my fridge. I wanted 2 dinner options for tonight. And parents rave. They're like, wait, it'll do that? Yes, it'll do that. And it'll teach anybody.
After school snacks. Yep. Great.
Exactly. It'll teach anybody how to cook. Yeah, so it's amazing. Superintendent, I really want to thank you. Thanks so much for being a guest here today with us.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you. And to the rest of you, as the title of my book says, remember to keep it light, bright, and polite because everything we do online, our kids are watching. We'll see all of you on the next episode. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54 plus live parent and student friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.